So in this video, we're going to talk about fearful avoidant attachment and why fearful avoidants often have so many strong triggers. Now, real quick, the fearful avoidant attachment style is one of three what are known as insecure attachment styles, along with dismissive avoidant attachment style and anxious preoccupied attachment style. And then the fourth is obviously secure attachment style. So our attachment style develops primarily between the ages of 0 to 2 years old, but it is heavily influenced all the way up until 8 years old because our brainwave states are really suggestible around this time. And it is still influenced to some degree all throughout young adulthood. To simplify it, infants and children are very programmable because they are in brainwave states as their brains develop that are prime brainwave states for reprogramming and programming. And in a nutshell, that means that during times of these brainwave states, it is easier to form neural networks, which basically equal our beliefs. The brain is programmed through our experiences by repetitive or strong emotion. Emotion fires and wires neural pathways. Our brain has neuroplasticity, which is basically what this is, our whole lives. And this is why healing later on is completely possible at any age. Just as you were programmed, you can be intentional and reprogram the same way. Real quick, if you've been here before, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Sarah Whaling, and I'm a life trauma and relationship coach. And if you are a fearful avoidant, helping people heal their insecure attachment style is one thing that I help my clients with. I myself used to be super fearful avoidant, so I have firsthand experience healing a fearful avoidant attachment style, so I combine my personal and professional knowledge when assisting my clients. If you're interested in one-on-one coaching, please visit my website, which you can find at the top of my channel, and fill out a contact form. I help people with dismissive avoidant attachment style heal and people with anxious preoccupied attachment style heal as well. Now let's dive back into today's topic. So we've covered when our primary attachment style develops and the how or the science behind how it develops. Now let's talk about the what. What programs our attachment style? Our attachment style is programmed mainly by the relationship to our caregivers because there is an innate importance placed on this relationship out of sheer survival. A baby or young child knows they cannot fend for themselves. Our attachment style, in a nutshell, is basically the subconscious rules we have for relationships. And our relationship rules that we learn through our relationship to our caregivers is just the way the world is to us, as sure as the sky is blue. For example, if you grew up with emotional neglect, as the dismissive avoidant does, then you learn the rule that trusting people with your emotions and being vulnerable is completely unsafe. Each attachment style has common rules, which explains why, if someone is trying to navigate a relationship with someone with a different attachment style, it can be confusing or even often painful. Anxious preoccupieds formed their attachment style with caregivers who felt safe when they were around, but they experienced either real or perceived abandonment as well. For example, they can have a parent that really attunes to them, but then they go away on work trips perhaps, and their absence is experienced by that child as abandonment each time. Dismissive avoidants experienced emotional neglect and sometimes physical neglect as well from their caregivers. For example, maybe they didn't have food to eat at times or clean clothes. Now, the fearful avoidant attachment style is the attachment style formed from trauma. This can be consistent little t traumas or big T trauma. An example of little t traumas would be that maybe they have a parent that constantly violates the child's boundaries or constantly overlooks their preferences or individual needs. But then many fearful avoidants come from a background of outright abuse. This can be physical abuse or emotional abuse, such as narcissistic abuse or abuse from a parent with BPD. And there's quite often inconsistency. So, the different inconsistencies often experienced by fearful avoidants in their young lives gives them some positive beliefs about relationships and some really negative beliefs about relationships as well. Fearful avoidants usually yearn for love and want relationships, but at the same time, they are absolutely convinced that what they want most is going to hurt them, and they will ultimately be betrayed. Now, remember, our brains are programmed through emotion, and that fires and wires the neural pathways. So, with the type of experiences that program a person with fearful avoidant attachment style, comes usually very, very strong, painful emotions. When we develop our core beliefs, our brain stores that belief with all of the emotion from our initial experiences that form that belief intact. So let's say that you grew up with a parent who lost their temper and raised their voice, and this meant that there was a high probability that physical abuse was about to follow. Years later, you're in an argument with your partner and they raise their voice. This is probably going to make you 10 out of 10 triggered. And that's because the subconscious mind has stored the experience of someone raising their voice with you as something that is very, very painful. So the formation of a fearful avoidance neural pathways kind of make life like walking through an emotional minefield in this way. So that's why the fearful avoidant can have such strong, intense triggers. That being said, the fearful avoidant also has the most core wounds of all the attachment styles because they have avoidant core wounds and anxious core wounds. They are often referred to as the hot and cold partner. They activate and deactivate because they yearn for deep emotional connection, but they also think this very connection will hurt them at the same time, so they don't really trust it. Now, when it comes to healing a fearful avoidant attachment style, the absolute most important first step is healing your core wounds. Until you heal them, your core wounds are the lens that you will see the world through. And this obviously has a massive impact on how you experience life and your ability to have a happy, peaceful life. So you want to figure out first what your core wounds are and then be intentional about reprogramming them. Common core wounds for fearful avoidance are I will be betrayed, people are out to hurt me, I am unimportant, I am disrespected, I am bad or a bad person, I am unworthy, I am ugly or I am physically disgusting, I will be rejected, and I am unsafe. There are many more core wounds, but those are some common ones for fearful avoidance. If you need help figuring out what all of your core wounds are, this is something that I help my clients with in one-on-ones. And then I teach them exactly how, step by step, to work on healing these wounds and eliminating them for good. Well, if you found this video interesting or helpful, it would mean a lot if you could give it a thumbs up. And if you're new here and you want to stick around, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell to receive notifications for future content. Thanks so much for being here.